pullback in
sharply.
copper, that tells you, correct me if I'm wrong, that global growth may be slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah, efforts that the Fed has made. And
What I called it earlier this week. You
okay.
have to have cash in your accounts, more cash.
And does that sound like does that sound?
Than it was.
Ralph, I think it's very misleading for the average investor for you to come off right off the bat saying the fact that the exchanges have raised the margin requirements. It's not a subjective thing. This happens when the price of any asset gets high enough, they have to continually raise it. It's just like if you buy $1 million home, your down payment's going to be bigger than if you buy a $500,000 home. That's just the way it works. It's automatic. People need to understand that. Secondly, have the fundamentals to own precious metals really left this market at this point? I mean, the dollar is still historically weak against all the world's currencies. Inflation's still a threat. We all see that at the grocery store. I mean, don't we want to own precious metals still?
Long-term, Ralph, maybe.
I think it. I see what you're saying. I could appreciate.
But I'll take this to you, Ralph. First is that we actually.
The Journal did a report on that.
Over again. I mean, well, you know, when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market, you had this huge crash in the silver market.
Okay, but what we're seeing is the hot money that's in this precious metals commodity moving out of the market. I agree with Ralph to some extent. There's a mechanical function of raising the margin requirement.
Some significant profits, which if you've owned silver, say, since the beginning of the year, or for...
I agree with you that the reasons for owning precious metals have not changed. The fundamentals are not.
And I think, Ralph, to your point as well, I think maybe the long-term picture is something to do something about it, but can they? Plus, the special problem here, and that's why Washington never fully.
Everybody starts to see the 4 and then whatever comes after it up on the sign, and they start to just said it incorrectly. It wouldn't just take them away from the big oil companies, it would take them away from the smaller oil companies as well, and therefore decrease production here in the United States. We have to keep that in mind when we go attack those evil big oil companies. It's not a strong argument.
And they've got a big hammer. I mean, when they say if you take away our subsidies, we're going to decrease production, you know, they mean it. They can be impactful.
Oh, yeah.
It behooves all of us, I think, Rich, to truly understand the financial makeup and the tax fees. We're going to have that debate next on Fox Business. Negotiations and meetings, and then we get some kind of hodgepodge of a deal at the end of the day. Having said that, we do have to address the issue of the debt ceiling, Bob, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, obviously, the debt overhang is preeminent in voters' minds. That's going to spur the biggest weight on the economy right now.
Sandra?
It's not hard to understand what the Republicans are asking for here. You want to raise the debt ceiling? Then show us how you're going to lower spending in the future. How are you going to reduce the deficit? I mean, we're constantly comparing this to, you know, say kids at home. If you're going to give them a bigger allowance because they spend everything on fun stuff and now they can't buy their school supplies, you're going to give them more, but they better tell you how they're going to not spend so frivolously going forward, how they're going to cut back. And that's all they're asking for here. And I don't think it's too difficult for voters to understand that.
No, and I think voters would support it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. Well, Peter, we'll see if the vice president has any. Thank you very much. More construction still going on at the White House. Well, inventors, we have 2 good segments for you coming up. We're going to tell you how you can cash on big inventions, as seen on TV. That is your hint for our next segment. We'll be right back.